the Centre MBA Festival in London, and as you know, we're taking this opportunity to meet not just with the school deans and program directors and admissions, but also alumni of the schools. And I'm delighted to be sitting down with Whitney Morgan, who is responsible for regional partnerships for Prodigy Finance. You probably know through Poets and Quants how Prodigy Finance is helping to reshape financing your MBA studies. Whitney is Chicago Booth from the class of 2014. So Whitney, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Applying to a school as selective as Booth, of course you get to talk about your accomplishments and your background, but what is one fun fact that maybe you didn't share with Chicago Booth?
Yeah, I can juggle. So that's something that's a fun party trick. I think as a kid, I saw somebody juggling, was very intrigued by that, and learned it over the course of a couple of months, and pull it out occasionally here and there, which is fun.
Now, is the ability to literally be able to juggle,
Yeah.
does that also mean that you're very good at juggling responsibilities, projects, and...
Yeah, I am quite particular about my schedule. So I even send meeting invites sometimes for coffee chats or for, get-togethers with friends those who aren't so much into the scheduling can get annoyed by. But yes, I would say with all the travel that I do, being organized and scheduled is one of my skills. Yeah.
Booth, of course, with the university's tradition, there's academic rigor. Applicants typically have great GMAT scores. What was an accomplishment pre-MBA that you were particularly proud of?
Yeah, I would say before business school, one of the things that I was involved in was working in cybersecurity engineering, and it's always interesting because I at the time, I had a top secret clearance, which a lot of people think is, lights and lasers and all the things you see in the movies. So it's something that I did dedicate a lot of my time to and was very passionate about. It wasn't like that in the real world. There was like one room that I was involved in that had a lot of that kind of stuff. But on the technical side, really exploring a lot of that in my early career was something that was personally very fulfilling and something that I think brought a little bit of more diversity into the Booth community.
Right. Having that level of clearance, did that mean that there were certain aspects of your job that you couldn't then share with the admissions office? How do you get around that challenge?
Well, I just don't share them. Talk about other things. But there were a lot of aspects actually that you can share. So speaking more towards that and more on the technical side, less about specific projects or specific systems I was working on, and more about processes or specific applications of that.
What really attracted you to Booth?
Yeah, to Booth, I know they're very known for the intellectual rigor, but actually I was narrowing my business school choices down to about 3 schools at the end, including Booth. And I found actually the qualitative side and the connections I made with folks before attending Booth and before accepting Booth very, very strong. Even throughout the program, it was really an interest to connect with people versus competitiveness or anything else that might have dampened that experience. But the real intent on connection was something that I found very strong, woven throughout the whole community, and was one of the reasons I ended up attending Booth.
Right. Now, the schools somehow attract these sort of stereotypes of the students. As you think back on your MBA classmates over that 2 years, what were the sort of common traits, value system that you identified in them?
I know a lot of people say it, but I would really say a sense of community. So everybody there has the brains, everybody is capable, certainly, but it's really the sense of community, the sense of helping one another, even in trips, so we would take a lot of trips. I went to Israel, Russia, Mexico, like all over, and just making sure everyone's included and facing new experiences together, but in a sense of team. And which really turned into a family. And I think that from I'm not going to say day one even, it's before you even get to school when that starts, was there, running through the whole experience and through today. So.
Right. 2 years and core curriculum, the electives you chose, was the one skill that you think that you developed at business school that's served you particularly well? Yeah,
so I had only worked in the U.S. prior to business school formally, And a lot of my closest friends at Booth were the internationals. So the ability to really understand business culture from their perspectives and where they were coming from has really helped me today. So I work in a very global role now. I'm traveling a lot to Asia, to Latin America, and being able to kind of have an induction of that through business school was certainly helpful for me being successful in my role today.
Right. Now, of course, many people that are with us at Centre Court and that you are working with at Prodigy Finance, it's a big step. I mean, it's a massive investment in time and in money.
Yeah.
Was there a moment in the program you're like, this is why I did all of this. This is why I made this investment?
During the program?
During the program.
I was just having fun the whole way through. So I think the moment I got there, it really, resonated with me, and it was really affirmation and confirmation in my decision of attending. I think really it wasn't, for me, one moment that stood out. As soon as I got there, it was a sense of belonging. I, continued to go to weddings and different reunions and things like that. And because I'm traveling a lot for my role too, I do see a lot of my former classmates quite often, and so even to today, I think that confirmation continues to manifest.
What do you miss most?
Being in school, not working. Being in school, the full-time experience is great. So the 2 years off, whether you're switching jobs or if you're going to go back into the same kind of function or role or company, it's still a great time to learn a lot about yourself and just a nice space to have to do that.
Right. Now, Prodigy Finance is growing incredibly quickly. As you think about the next 5 or 8 years for yourself and where you'd like to see yourself, where would that be? And how does the MBA continue to help you to achieve that?
Well, the 5 to 8 years is the old 30-year question or 10-year question. So I feel like 5 years now is even a very long projection. But I do like where I am, and the company is quite agile. It's very global in nature. So I'm not sure I would move. But what I will say is that the MBA certainly has helped with respect to the network. So whether it's in my current job or personally or in other ways, I know I will continue to use the network. You have people in such great avenues, entrepreneurial and just from multinationals all over the world, and being able to tap into that, whether I knew them in my program, they were there before, or came after me. Everybody is very responsive and open to meeting, and I know that will serve me as I continue.
Great. Well, thank you. And certainly this audience loves to sort of get the sense of what drove you and the experience that you had. Sounds like it was a lot of fun and continues to pay benefits. So thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you.